Hey, we're Saints. Father Chris here. Welcome to our Crucifixional live stream. Glad to have you beautiful people with us. It's always fun being with you. I don't know if you have as much fun with us as we do with you, but we love you. And speaking of love, it comes to the topic today of your heart. You know, as we're exploring on the way of the warrior saint, the six-part plan that we're putting together for you, the third part is your heart, right? Which ultimately means for us to refer to the relationships we have with other people. Now, no one can go through life on an island like, Tom Hanks in the movie Castaway. I mean, he started to lose his marbles, right? And he even had to make his bloody handprint on the ball, Wilson, so that he had someone to relate to, because human beings need to relate to other human beings. It's how we're built. And most of us, even our introverts in the house, they love other people. Some people, right? They love some people. Maybe not all the people, but we need others. Now, sometimes in relating with others, we don't do it right. I don't care what they do. If they want to be jerks or behave selfishly, that's their business. Let God deal with them. You and I, we do not want to be what Greg calls transactional, right? I love when he uses that. Like it's that I'm transactional in my relationship. What can you do for me? And it goes, if you think like that, it goes even further to say, I'll help you if helping you helps me. Right? So like it's just becomes almost a business transaction, which is why I think he uses it. Instead, we need to be in our relationships crucifixional, because life for us is won or lost in other people, right? Even in some of the Orthodox Church teachings, they say that your salvation is wrapped up in the other person, right? Like, I mean, you think about the stories of the Good Samaritan and the stories when in Matthew 25, when Jesus comes to judge and separates the goats and the lambs, or the goats and the sheep, from feeding me when I was hungry, visiting me when I was sick, and clothing me when I was naked, and so on. When you did it to the least of my brothers, right? Like, it's relationships for us must be crucifixional. It's not easy to do that because often people are irritating, right? And let's be honest, right? Sometimes people don't want to have good relationships. Sometimes we're interacting with people who are transactional in their own mindset. Like I said earlier, that's their problem. But for you and I, how do we deal with it? Okay, look. St. Paul tells us, he speaks in Ephesians chapter 5, it's about marriage, or at least the metaphor he uses is about marriage. But he's talking to us really about the overarching way that we can have crucifixional relationships with other people versus transactional. And he says, husbands and wives, love one another, submit to one another's wives, submit to your husbands. And then he says in verse 25, husbands, love your wives. But not just from this emotional perspective or emotional place. You love your wives. How? As Christ loved the church, right? And how did Christ love the church? On the cross. I mean, you got it, right? That's what he's telling us. Your love must be crucifixional for the other person. Now, to do that is very difficult because, like we said, sometimes people don't want it. They reject it. They're annoying or hurtful or, against us. I mean, sometimes it's hard, and I get it. So how do we do that? How do you and I come to a place where we become, like, I'm going to use another Gregism because I think it's great. Like, especially in our marital relationships, we think about, what do I get from them? Greg says, no, you need to earn the Academy Award for the best supporting actor in the movie of your spouse's life. Sit on that one for a while, right? Like, that's awesome. And so how do we become that best supporting actor in their life? How do we become crucifixionally relatable to other people? Well, it's, like I said, not easy, but we are here to help you do that. We are fighting for it in our own lives. We study it. Scripture is all we deal with, and hopefully God is guiding us and guiding you to hear the way of the warrior saint. So when you visit warriorsaints.org, you are going to see our new 6-part plan. The third part of that plan, which is your heart, which will help us in our relationships. And we deal with things like crucifixional relationships, how to be a best supporting actor in the movie of their life. We also deal with things like spouses, with children. How do we relate to people who are, frustrating or challenging? We have a track in there called Don't Be Right, Win. What does that mean, right? How do we deal with gross people, with toxic people? How do we reconcile with someone we've become estranged with? All of this and more in the heart component of our 6-part plan. If you're ready, visit warriorsaints.org. Let's get on the way of the warrior saint and start on the path to becoming exceptional. We'll be back tomorrow. As always, keep walking on the way of the warrior saint.